old buddy Doug Hutchens. Doug will be telling you what's happening in bluegrass music, and we'll be playing some of the finest bluegrass around. So settle back for the next 60 minutes and enjoy Bluegrass Today.
Thank you, Mr. Grant Turner. As we always say, it is a pleasure to be with you once again this week with Bluegrass Today. We'll be spending some more time with Kerry Hay and Butch Robbins a little bit later on, but first let's give a listen to a beautiful young lady in bluegrass music, Alison Krauss with Endless Highway. We're back once again with Butch Robbins and our good buddy Kerry Hay.
Butch, we talked last week about the Bluegrass Band project. If we've got some new listeners this week we didn't have last time around, kind of tell us a little bit about who's in this project and what the project's all about now.
This particular Bluegrass Band project highlights the talents of Ricky and Ronnie Simpkins, Larry Stevenson, Wyatt Rice, Wayne Henderson, and another fellow named Arnie Solomon who came in to help us out on a few cuts when we had it. But this is another project of the Bluegrass Band. That's a band that surfaces periodically to attempt to play bluegrass with the enthusiasm, finesse, drive, power, and everything else that bluegrass had in the 40s, 50s, and 60s.
And I think you're trying to make it available to the folks out across the country with this project as well.
Every day we've got that ad running somewhere.
Now, tell us a little bit about how someone could get a copy of this. Of course, they can get it if they listen to our commercial show, but tell us some of the other places that you're running it.
We're at this point, we're on CMT, Country Music TV, which we are. This is an exercise in marketing as much as it is anything. We're trying to develop some ideas here, too. We are, at this point, as far as national cable hookups are concerned, we're on CMT. We're working at this point to get on a couple of local cable companies to test market to see how it does regionally. And we're also going to be marketing on some local TV channels, which we haven't gotten there. This product's only been out for about 3 weeks at this stage of the game, so we're sort of feeling our way right now. But it will be this to order this record, they're either going to have to do it through your show or through some TV or radio advertisement somewhere. We don't plan at this stage of the game to offer the record through retail outlets such as music stores or record stores, or offer it to any distributors, any of the traditional distributors of bluegrass music.
Tell you what, let's give a listen to a sample of it with Blue Moon of Kentucky. And neighbors, you're listening to Bluegrass Today. Neighbors, if you'll enjoy bluegrass music, you don't want to miss this. 39 of the greatest bluegrass tunes of all time by the Bluegrass Band. The legendary Butch Robbins has assembled the Bluegrass Band. This time around, joining Butch on the sessions were Larry Stevenson, Wyatt Rice, the Simpkins Brothers, and Wayne Henderson. 39 great bluegrass tunes like Blue Moon of Kentucky you just heard, the Mule Skinner Blues, Foggy Mountain Breakdown, Rocky Top, Fox on the Run, and 34 other bluegrass greats. 50 years of bluegrass music history available on LP, cassette, or CD for only $19.95 plus $4 shipping and handling. That's a total of $23.95 postpaid to Bluegrass Today, Post Office Box 549, Floyd, Virginia 24091. Once again, that's 39 great bluegrass tunes for only $19.95 plus $4 shipping and handling. That's a total of $23.95 to Bluegrass Today, Post Office Box 549, Floyd, Virginia 24091.
My heart is sad.
I'll send all life's work in rain. The clouds are dark, the day is dreary. It seemed all earth be helping vain.
Angel rock me to sleep,
Angel rock me to sleep
in the cradle of love,
in the cradle of love. Carry me over the deep,
carry me over the deep
to heaven above, to the heaven above.
when the shadow shall fall,
When the shadow shall fall,
and the Savior shall call,
and the Savior shall call.
angel rock me to sleep,
Angel rock me to sleep in the cradle of love.
there is no
earthly friend to carry, no one to point to heaven's goal, but Christ the Savior stands beside me to cheer and comfort my poor soul.
angel rock me to sleep,
Angel rock me to sleep
in the cradle of love,
in the cradle of love. Carry me over the deep,
carry me over the deep
to heaven above, to heaven above.
when the shadow shall fall,
When the shadow shall fall,
and the Savior shall call,
and the Savior shall call.
angel rock me to sleep,
Angel rock me to sleep in the cradle of love.
at last the
Harbor I am near. I see the lights along the shore. I hear my friends and loved ones cheering. I'll soon be safe forevermore.
angel rock me to sleep,
Angel rock me to sleep
in the cradle of love,
in the cradle of love. Carry me over the deep,
carry me over the deep
to heaven above, to heaven above.
when the shadow shall fall,
When the shadow shall fall,
and the Savior shall call,
and the Savior shall call.
angel rock me to sleep,
Angel rock me to sleep in the cradle of love. Back once again with Kerry Hayes. And Kerry, is this going to be the only project of this sort, or are we looking on down the highway to see some more projects?
Doug, we hope it won't be the last. Butch and I talked about doing several things even while we were planning this, and we have another project in the planning. We hope to go into the studio before too long to do a package of bluegrass sacred songs, again along the lines of what the old masters did, Monroe, Flatt and Scruggs, the Stanley Brothers, Reno and Smiley, and that's what we have planned, and we hope it'll come to be, and I think it will.
Okay, let's give a listen to another sample of the Bluegrass Band.
I sell the morning paper, sir. My name is Jimmy Brown. Everybody knows that I'm the newsboy of the town. You can hear me yelling Morning Star, running along the street. Got no hat upon my head, no shoes upon my feet. Never mind, sir, how I look, don't look at me and frown. I sell the morning paper, sir, my name is Jimmy Brown. I'm awful cold and hungry, sir, my clothes are mighty thin. I wander about from place to place, my daily bread to win.
And neighbors, you're listening to Bluegrass Today. Neighbors, if you enjoyed the music that you've been hearing, you want to take note of this. 39 great bluegrass tunes by the Bluegrass Band. The legendary Butch Robbins is a symbol of the bluegrass bands, especially for this recording. Joining Butch on these sessions was Larry Stevenson, Wyatt Rice, the Simpkins Brothers, and Wayne Henderson. 39 great bluegrass tunes, like Jimmy Brown's The Newsboy that you just heard, the Mule Skinner Blues, Foggy Mountain Breakdown, Rocky Top, Fox on the Run, and 34 other bluegrass greats. 50 years of bluegrass history available on LP, cassette, or CD for only $19.95 plus $4 shipping and handling. Send a check or money order for $23.95, postpaid, to Bluegrass Today, Post Office Box 549, Floyd, Virginia 24091. That's 39 great tunes by the Bluegrass Band for only $23.95. And that's the total price now. That's postage paid. To Bluegrass Today, Post Office Box 549, Floyd, Virginia 24091.
When I was a little boy, I had no time for ceremonies. All I wanted was to see the world from the back of a little black pony, from the back of a little black pony. Mr. Lee lived across the street, had a daughter my age named Joni. In the summertime we'd build us a boat, we'd sail to the island Coney, we'd sail to the island Coney. Medicine man to come around, everybody called him the pony, but I thought he was the king when I heard him ring a big bell on a little black pony. He was riding on a little black pony. I said, oh mister, what can I give you? I haven't got much money, but I'll do anything, even try to sing, if you let me have that pony. I gotta have that little black pony. He said, son, learn to play the banjo while the old cue's happy and lonely, and I'll be back this way someday, and you can have that pony, you can have that little black pony. Never came back, but I never once thought he was a phony. I just guess he must have realized he couldn't do without that pony. He couldn't live without a little black pony. Mr. Lee moved away and got a job in the city. That's the last I saw of Joni. But I can't forget the cardboard boats, and I still love little black ponies. Still love little black ponies.
We're back once again with Butch Robbins and Kerry Hayes. And now tell us a little bit about the Bluegrass Band. Where did that name come from, and what's the development with that?
If any of the listeners out there are familiar with some of my projects back in the days of antiquity, I did the third album that I did as a solo album was called The Fifth Child. That album was my first attempt at playing bluegrass music on a record. I had done a newgrass type record on my Fragments in My Magic Nation album, and had done a collage of bands on my 40 Years Late album, some of it being country music tunes and some of them being bluegrass and a little bit of swing tunes and this, that, and the other, all played acoustically on the banjo or five-string dobro. But until that Fifth Child record come along, I hadn't attempted to make a bluegrass record. Alan O'Brien and Blaine Sprouse were playing for James Monroe back in those days, and being the students of music that the three of us were, we were all disciples of Bill Monroe back in that day to a point. Me probably more than myself. I was, I would have followed and did follow that old man to the end of the earth a few times, I believe. But we were sitting on top of Uncle Pen's cabin in Rosine, Kentucky, watching the sun go down, and heard the strains of a fiddle coming up through that holler somewhere. Don't know where. It never identified the fiddle player or if we were hallucinating or what the deal was. But we came down off of the roof of the house, and Alan walked out on the front porch and found a fiddle peg laying out in the front yard. And somehow or another we started picking. It was a full moon that night, and we played it was at the Beaver Dam Festival up there, the Rosine Festival. We played from dark until daylight the next morning, and so help me, if you'd have asked me when it was all over, I'd have figured we'd have been there an hour. And right then, I ran into some people who had the feel of the music the way it was played years and years ago. Alan O'Brien was the rhythm guitar player, and he just got a masterful timing about him for bluegrass music and rhythm. And Blaine, the student of music that he was, I thought we played some of the most goosebump producing music that I'd ever heard in my life up there that night. And during the course of the next few weeks, I decided that I wanted to attempt to make a bluegrass banjo record. And when I did that bluegrass banjo record, I identified the three of us as the nucleus of a band called the Bluegrass Band. Within about 2 years after that, I wound up quitting Bill Monroe and going into partnerships with those guys. We had at that point, if there's any continuity of thought in this whole thing of the Bluegrass Band, what I'd intended to do was try to get what my definition of bluegrass music was, and it's basically just a direct offshoot of Monroe, Monroe's bluegrass and vice versa. I wanted to take bluegrass music, or what I identified that with, to the mainstream of the American public, to try to be entertainers who exhibited the art form called bluegrass. And we put together a little show that we had a reluctant comedian in the show, and we had the good solid music. I thought the music was as strong as anything that there was going during that day and time. But we wanted a band name which basically said what we was doing, and that was Record Bluegrass. There was no, it wasn't an exploratory music. We just played the hard two-beat rhythm music. And the same thing that we try to do with this, go back to your people who are singing a song for the song and not using a song as a vehicle to exhibit their voice. Just sing your notes clean and plain and stay close to your melody, that being the prime thing. Well, the Bluegrass Band itself lasted for about 16 or 18 months, and we had got a lot of acceptance around, but it was just one of those things, you beat your brains out in vans with folks, and first one thing happens. The first thing that happened was Blaine wanted a little more secure position in life, and he took a job with the Osborne brothers. Then we had our ups and downs after that, and finally after about 1.5 years of it, I decided to get out of the music business altogether, and I did. I think if most of the people out there that you have right now, if you're hearing my voice, this record and my voice are the only things you've heard out of me in the last 8 years, because I just have been invisible to the whole bluegrass scene. But as Kerry and I started talking about a recording project, we batted around a lot of ideas, and we got back to this theme that for the last 20 years, bluegrass has been invaded by a lot of other types of music. People wanting to add jazzier ideas to bluegrass, or to take material the same way that Mac Wiseman may have done Love Letters in the Sand, which was Pat Boone's big hit, brought it over from the pop side. You had folks coming in wanting to bring your rock and roll tunes in, and, you know, different kinds of music started to invade this music. With the exception of a few efforts, there's been very little hardcore bluegrass done since then. I think Tony Rice and J.D. Crowe and that bunch that have the Bluegrass Album Band music have made a stab at doing it. But we don't, at this stage of the game, we think, Kerry and I believe that there is at least one generation who's never even heard bluegrass out there. They may have heard people playing banjos and fiddles and mandolins and the instrumentation of a bluegrass band, but to actually go back and hear the enthusiasm that bluegrass was played with back when it was new and young, we don't think that exists very much today.
Butch, let's give it a listen to a tune that I guess this gentleman's responsible for a whole lot of the music that we hear. Uncle Pam. You're listening to Bluegrass Today.